Good morning, everybody. Today we're going over in this module the academic preparedness and degree completion at West Tisbury State University case study. Yet again, Dr. Sasso, you have picked one that got my blood boiling a little bit, got me a little frustrated. I apologize if you hear a lot of noise in the background. The student center is busy, and they're also cutting through metal on the back door behind my office, so it's just a little bit loud. But before we get started, let's talk about who is involved in um, this particular narrative. There are a lot of these names that I'm not going to say right, so we're just going to say the assistant vice president for academic affairs is involved, as well as the assistant vice president for student affairs, the director of institutional research and planning, the executive assistant to the president, the director of university advising and counseling, the chairperson of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, and the director for student development. So, what are some of the issues? They are concerned about a decreased graduation rate, which, everybody is, especially in this climate. It has decreased significantly, though, for them. It's gone from 86.9 to 60%. It doesn't say, you know, how quick that was, if that's over the course of a couple of years or if that's over the course of like 10 to 12 years. But also keep in mind, this is a public regional comprehensive university. So you know, it's a residential 4-year campus. It is traditional. It is what it is. And they are struggling with that. And also in the past 5 years, they are starting to see a huge increase in students needing developmental math courses or developmental, courses in general. And that is not surprising, especially for those of us living and working with students in a post-pandemic world. They just were not as prepared. Online learning did not help them as much. And I'm sure that the next part is where you can see that my blood's boiling. There are uncooperative faculty. In fact, it reads that Eunice Taylor reported that a professor stated that they wanted the college to limit admissions to students with a 3.5 GPA and a 32 or better on the American College testing, or on American College testing standardized examination. I'm an expert in the field, and I only want to teach the best and brightest students in the country. Why should I be bothered with students who have B and C averages? Well, we all know that some students do not do well in high school and they flourish in college, and vice versa. There are a lot of things that play into it, and a GPA and a test score is not a conclusive measure of the intelligence of a student. It's just not. This is an argument I have had for a very long time. They even give you an example of a student, Rebecca Fields, who had a 2.7 and a 19 on the ACT, but she was a first gen student and she did not have the resources that a lot of other people have. And then also we talk about how the director of student development suggests that alcohol could be a factor. And so basically, what we've seen is limited familial support and collegiate preparatory curricular opportunities for first gen students in high school, negative faculty attitudes teaching, and alcohol consumption. So those are the three things that they're most concerned about. And the part that says, keep in mind that it is politically perilous to accuse faculty of being unwilling to teach students who are academically under or unprepared from low socioeconomic backgrounds or from other represented groups. Therefore, this cannot be a formal part of the report to the President's Cabinet, which is ultimately released to the entire campus community. And to that, I say, I don't care. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. That is a problem. That is a huge problem that needs to be addressed. And I know that it doesn't I know that there are other ways of getting it addressed, but I believe it's something that needs to be formal on paper. And it just gets my blood boiling because the focus should be being a student ready college, not making students be college ready. And so to address some of the issues they're concerned about, especially, let's start with the alcohol issue. It sounds like they have programming for when they've already done something when it's not used responsibly, but maybe it would be good to adopt a program such as like alcohol edu, hopefully that's what it's still called, prior to, I put prior to acceptance, I meant prior to, being on campus and registering for classes. Also, if we have students that are struggling and they are needing those developmental courses, then maybe it's a good idea for us to create some type of summer bridge program. That way these students will get the developmental programming that they need, take the developmental courses. Also, they'll have a cohort of people that they know, and we all know that that helps aid in success and retention when you have that village behind you to help you through some of the struggles that inevitably everybody has. And more programming based around student success. So that's actually something we're doing right now at LSC, is we are trying to do programming that helps students to persevere and persist. One of the things we're doing coming up next week, it's National First Generation Student Day, so we're doing something called What's Your Why? And so it's meant to bring together faculty and staff, and students can say, why they're, proud of being a first generation student. And then that's their wall, and then the faculty and staff are there to write down either, what was their reasoning, or just words of encouragement, because students, studies show that building those relationships, the stronger the relationships built, and the more built, the more likely they are to persist and complete. And it cannot be understated enough. I'm sorry, faculty sensitivity training needs to happen, because hearing 3.5 and a 32 on the ACT is insanity. I had a very high GPA in high school. I had something like a 3.85, 9, something like that. I made a 26 on my ACT. I made a 20 on the math section, which meant I was in remedial math. I am literally sitting in a doctoral program where I graduated college with my undergrad with a 3.4, my master's with a 4.0. So to say you need a 32 to get into our college, this is a public regional institution. This is not Harvard. This is not Yale. And so I really do think that even though it's perilous and it's going to end my career, it's not just this particular scenario. It happens everywhere, but sometimes faculty need to be put in check. And I've always agreed with what Dr. Sasso has had to say when it comes to every student affairs professional should teach a class, and every faculty member should host a program, so that we each understand what the other person does day to day and have a little bit more respect for one another. And I just think the idea of a 32, a 32, a 36, last time I checked, was like a perfect score on the ACT. And that is just asinine. And I'm literally, if you can't tell, I'm flabbergasted that they think that's a good idea. So we need to really sit down and discuss the ideas of sensitivity training for faculty, because who knows what they're saying to these students and how they're making these students feel about needing remedial subjects. There is nothing wrong with taking a remedial course. Nothing at all. Yes, it does not count towards college credit. We get that, but we are better preparing them to enter the other courses. So that's why I'm putting an emphasis on summer bridge programs and, sensitivity training. But all in all, they all need to be addressed, and I don't care if it's perilous to put it in the formal report. But, these faculty are just as much held accountable for enrollment and persistence and success as the student affairs side, because enrollment is everybody's problem, and graduation rates are everybody's problem, and student success is everybody's problem, because without all of those things, we do not have jobs, we do not have a campus, we don't have a college, we have nothing. So rant over. Sorry about that, a little bit frustrated from this one, but this is what I would present to the president, and maybe I'll get fired, or maybe I'll get blackballed by the faculty. But if it was truly me doing this is what I would do. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you.